Hey everybody, Dustin DePirac here, columnist Ryan Karchi. Here at Mackey Arena on the floor in really cushy, nice seats. Actually.
Really awesome seats at eye level.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah.
This is the way to watch college basketball if you can.
Pretty much, yeah. They did at least a few nice things with the place. They did a pretty big remodeling thing, and the downstairs, some of the other sort of catacombs of this place are a lot nicer than they have been. They still have horrendous internet, but anyway, that's a story for another day.
There was a game.
There was a game, and Indiana got I think, a really just huge win. I mean, they needed this one so incredibly badly.
And
to win it this way, too.
I mean, this win isn't in the category, like, resume-wise of wins over Kentucky and Ohio State at home, but I think as far as importance for the season, I think it's right there with those two games.
Yeah, I mean, in the kind of ongoing narrative of where they stand, basically, I mean, you had to get, the Kentucky win and the Ohio State win, put you in a certain stratosphere that you're talking about Indiana. But in terms of keeping it going, in terms of kind of continuing the momentum and not allowing for this kind of late season cave in, they needed a win like this to be able to go into somebody else's place, especially
Purdue,
an incredibly hated rival that was just on them all night. It was really loud in here. And it was a mess, and the first half was about as messy as I've ever seen a basketball game.
It was a bare-knuckle brawl is the only way to describe it, especially in the first half.
Yeah, brutal. I mean, there were combined 19 for 74 the two teams were. Indiana had 34 rebounds in the first half. That's their season average. Because there was that many missed shots, basically. It was that ugly. I mean, Purdue didn't turn the ball over remarkably in the first half. Only gave away 3 times in the whole game, but just couldn't get anything to fall. Indiana was kind of the same way and just kind of gritted it out to get a 11-point halftime lead. And then we're in a situation again where they're on the road and it was starting to slip away, and a couple of just big critical things happened. Will Sheehy got a just monster block on Lewis Jackson, who kind of had a free lane to the bucket, and Sheehy kind of blocked him from behind. Obvious Alien says hello, as does Connor O'Gara. And then Remy Abel, just massive, humongous.
Remy Abel,
three-point shot.
I mean, the ball was in Victor Oladipo's hands on that last play, and that was really the guy you wanted to have the ball. I mean, he finished with
23 game high,
23
career
points,
high,
8 rebounds,
4 assists.
You put the ball in his hands, and he looks like he's about to drive to the hoop on that play.
Which is what he did all night.
Which is what he did successfully all night. He kicks out to Christian Watford, who makes another good pass to a wide-open Remy Abel, who was also having a great night already. I mean, he was 4 of 5 before that shot, and I mean, wide open, no one around him.
Hummel ran over, and actually Hummel talked after the game about the play, and Hummel was actually the one who ran over, and instead of kind of running out to just contest, he broke down because he was thinking drive, because Abel drives. I mean, he's a freshman kid who's taken 12 three-pointers this entire season. He shoots it well. He's 5 for 12 coming in, but Hummel's thing was the book is, and what you'd seen all night is he was just attacking the glass. That was his kind of one very singular thought, was just go at the rim, and he just wasn't thinking the kid was going to pull up. No. And you can kind of see it, like he throws an arm up late once the ball's already in the air, but he broke down. Like his thing was break down, be ready for the drive. This kid's going to come at you. And he just hit a monster 3, and that just sucked the wind out of this place. I mean, just absolutely.
That was the dagger. That was the dagger of the game. That put them up 9 at that point.
9 at that point.
And
70-61.
By then,
but with $1:27 left, and Purdue just didn't have anything left to go.
And I don't think you can understate the importance of just being able to hang on in those last 5 minutes on the road, especially in the most hostile environment they've played on the road thus far.
They always play. They've played in some hostile ones, but Mackey's different. I mean, and I don't even know if it's, I've obviously never seen it not for an Indiana-Purdue game, but I mean, they just come to just scream and get just wicked nasty.
At every single foul.
At every they were
every call.
I had to admit, Indiana has did better at getting calls, I think, on the road than probably any team I've seen in the Big Ten this year.
Yeah.
But that being said, I mean, it was really loud for them to just hang on. I mean, and to not feel like, here we go again. We were up by 10. We were up by 11. Why can't we put this thing away? It just seemed like a lot of confidence, a lot more maturity than we've seen from this group. Yeah.
And you could kind of see it in their faces after the game. I mean, this is a team that, and Victor Oladipo told us, I mean, afterwards, they were sick of the last few weeks. I mean, they lost games, they gave up games they thought they should have won, and He admitted as much as that, and I think a win like this can really change the attitude of a team going forward. And if you look at the schedule, I know a lot of people have been harping on the last few weeks. Some of those games that they lost were tough games. I mean,
really tough
games they were probably expected by a lot of people to lose. The games going forward,
it just looks worse when you also lose to Nebraska, Minnesota at home, and Nebraska.
But the games going forward are not very tough. There's 2 road games.
There's Michigan State at home, though.
There's Michigan State at home, and that's the only ranked team. I mean, they play Minnesota on the road. They play Iowa on the road. Both of those are winnable games for sure. Yeah. But and the rest of their schedule includes teams like Illinois, who's been inconsistent. Yeah. Northwestern, who's been kind of going down lately.
Right. Who's Northwestern, and they live and die by the 3, and it's tough for them to win on the road.
Exactly. So those games are, I mean, conceivably, if you take on Michigan,
start a run. This could
definitely start a run.
I think you mentioned confidence, and I think Oladipo ties a lot into this. I mean, he was the one who said it, but like, it was amazing just the difference in Vic. He'd been having a lot of problems getting anything to fall down.
He started 1 for 5 to this game too.
Yeah, and I think he hits the 3-pointer, and nobody really spoke to it. I thought it was huge. Like the guys, Vic didn't really mention it so much, and Tom was saying, it was more about his defense. But I think it did a couple things. I mean, first off, it was just like, I've been trying to, been so hard for him to buy one. Just, in anything, any jumper outside of 5 feet. He hits that 3, and it just kind of energized him. I mean, he didn't really take a lot of shots outside the paint the rest of the game. I don't know if he took any shots outside the paint for the rest of the game. But it just seemed to energize him a lot. And when you have an energetic Victor Oladipo, that goes a long way. I mean, this was as good of dribble penetration as they've had all year. I think there was kind of a decision made, especially with Verdell Jones out with the bruised shoulder, to let Vic handle the ball more. He attacked, Remy Abel attacked, and even Jordy Hall's attacked to a degree off the dribble. I mean, they probably had more and more effective dribble penetration they had, and a lot of part was just getting Vic to be his old sort of energetic self and just attack and just play aggressive and be the guy that he's supposed to be. And I think that's huge for them, and he can do that going forward.
And that paid off. I mean, looking at this game initially, I thought, this is a game you're going to see Cody Zeller score 25 points, pull down 10 rebounds. I mean, he still had a good game. He still scored 16 and pulled down how many rebounds? 8. Pulled down 8 rebounds. Good game by all standards. But this game was not about Cody Zeller. It was about Victor Oladipo. It was about driving to the hoop.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they've had a game this season that has kind of used that as its main jumping point.
Yeah, exactly. That was sort of the key sort of narrative story of the game. Vic, like, what was also interesting is, especially early on, Purdue kind of looked at it like, hey, we don't have an answer for Cody Zeller in the post. We don't have a real true answer there. We're going to have to double team. But the biggest thing they were going to do is try to pressure the basketball and try to harass those guys so that they couldn't make easy passes, that it wasn't easy for them to get anything accomplished from the perimeter. And Indiana was able to bust that up by just attacking and going at them off the dribble. And you're right, I don't think they've been able to do that, especially against a team that was really pressuring all year. Really to be really effective about that. And Victor Oladipo, pretty much, especially when they ran a lot of high ball screens for him, and I mean, just carved them up. I mean, just absolutely carved them up. Was able to just get to the hole, draw fouls. They went to the free throw line 35 times tonight. I don't know if that's the season high. It's got to be close. I mean, they shot more free throws, made more free throws than Purdue shot. 9 more than Purdue shot, but 29 for 35 on the road. You don't see that ever.
Yeah.
From very few teams do you see that. And Matt Painter even said, you know what, like, a lot of people will kind of complain about that. He says, they were the aggressors tonight. They took it to us. And
said they wanted it more.
Yeah, I mean, he flat out said they wanted more. Went so far as to say is, you know what, if Lewis Jackson gets that bucket that Will Sheehy blocked him on, and we come back and win, it's a shame because Indiana earned that. I mean, and like, you've heard people say it before, like, they deserved it, whatever, but not to that degree to say, like, it would have been an injustice if we won tonight.
He was pretty candid about it.
Yeah. That's surprising. I mean, like, for just about anybody, like, you've heard, hey, they played a great game, they deserved to win, but not like, if we would have won, we would not have deserved it.
So what do they do with the starting lineup from here?
That's a really interesting question. That's the elephant in the room, I guess, that we have to sort of bring out here. It's an interesting question because
Verdell Jones obviously was out this game with an injury.
Right
We're
shoulder.
not sure what.
Bruised right shoulder. We don't know how long it's going to be. I mean, he was at least out and dressed. It wasn't a situation where even with Will Sheehy, where he came out in sweats and didn't even attempt. I mean, he's got to be relatively close. I mean, like, he can't be too far away. You have to think they go with this lineup they went with, they started Derek Elston as well in the lineup alongside Oladipo, bringing him back. And it's an interesting question going forward. I mean, like, they obviously play with a lot of confidence, but, obviously, for all the heck he gets from just about everybody, there are things that Riddell Jones does pretty well. And he has been a leader on this team the last 2 games. He played okay at Michigan. He played very good in the 2 previous games. Was outstanding against Iowa. So it wasn't like he's been going downhill. And he is a guy that they like to handle the ball when Jordy Halls might be having a tough night. So it is a tough question. Do you pull your senior out of the lineup? Tom Crean's obviously been hesitant to do that. Has really given sort of a lot of freedom to him. Sometimes people think too much, maybe not. But it's an interesting question. I mean, how much further do you go with this group? Do you stick with it? You got to think at the very least Remy Abel gets to play.
Absolutely.
A lot more,
he won't be in the doghouse anymore.
I don't know if he was ever in the doghouse,
or
but I think
whatever
house
he was in.
I think he had to prove something. I don't know if he was, but I think he had to prove something. I don't understand a question. The last 2 nights he has.
Indiana proved a lot.
Yeah, big time. Anyway, enjoy your Super Bowl. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.